I am Ray, and this is your sign to go all in on spirituality. Buckle up, because we're going to take the magic school bus to the realm of the gods. That should have been an episode. You see, here's the problem. We can spend our whole lives playing around in the worldie. Didn't actually mean to say that, but we'll roll with it. And the problem is, the nature of this reality is change. Everything is change. Didn't you listen to Obama? Which means that there is nothing that can bring you lasting satisfaction in this world. Only temporary glimpses of satisfaction. So the moment you achieve one goal or you receive what you want, it's on to the next thing. You'll get a temporary moment of pleasure, and then it'll be gone. And you'll need something more. More. And that is our human condition. We're always striving for more because we don't understand that what we want is already right here within us. And we don't have to really do much to get it. We have to do a few specific things. But so long as we're mucking about in the worldie, it's not going to happen. My whole philosophy on life is what Jesus said: seek first the kingdom of God, and then everything else will be added on to you. Be in the world, but not of the world. We have to get our priorities straight, okay? Because, again, you can muck about in the worldie your whole life and never truly find what you're looking for. But once you go within yourself, you go all in on spirituality, you find what you were looking for the whole time. Well, now you can go back in the world and play and have fun and not be stressed out all the time. And losing your hair. Bald people will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. Don't you know this? I'm just kidding. There, Baldy. You see, what will happen on this journey? Once you go within yourself, you go all in on spirituality. You can find inner contentment with the present moment alone. And what does this mean? It means that once you go back in the world, now you can actually enjoy the temporary pleasures. But before, it's like there's this grasping, there's this needing. I need it. Like from SpongeBob, when he was in Sandy's dome and he was without water. I need it. I need water. And that's everybody. The world is like a big desert, and everybody thirsty. And they're digging in the sand, trying to find water, or looking out and seeing all of these mirages, these illusions of water, not knowing there's a great ocean right next to you. Big, infinite ocean. All the water you could ever drink. Which is why Jesus said, when you drink the water that I give you, you will never thirst again. You will not be thirsty. And the funniest thing is, once you stop mucking about in the world and you go within yourself, when you go back out into the world, everything seems to work out perfectly. Whereas before, you were struggling the whole time. Struggling to get what you want, struggling to avoid what you don't want. Nothing but suffering. Meat grinder of death. And if you look out at the people in your life, many people are struggling with this. Very few people are content. You look at the self-improvement industry. More. I need more goals. Goals. Okay, Ronaldo. How about you take a few steps back for a moment and take some of that dip off your chip? Let's look at this thing practically, right? Let's say you got a house. You're building a house. It's going to be your home for the rest of your life. Congratulations. In this economy? What kind of foundation are you going to build that house upon? Answer me this. Ponder for a moment, if you must. Are you going to build the house on something like sand that's just always shifting, always moving, not stable? I don't know what else is not stable besides, my ex-girlfriend. That was a joke. No, you want to build your house on solid ground. Something that's never going to move. Just stillness. So we have these two ideas. We have change, homeless people, and we have unchange. Man, did I spell that wrong? I digress. All of us have been building the foundation of our life on that which is changing. And clearly you see it makes no sense. You wouldn't do it logically, and yet we do. Everyone, 99% of all earthly human beings. We build our life upon that which is changing and wonder why we suffer. Have you ever wondered what a midlife crisis is? It's you built the whole foundation of your entire life on a poor foundation, something that's changing all the time. And then when the storms of life come and remind you, hey, that was a dumb idea, everything falls apart and then you have to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Not always easy. But we can save ourselves all that trouble by building our house right from the first place. So what does this mean? Look at your body. Tubby. Is our body always changing? Yes, our body is always changing. What about our mind? Our mind certainly changes all the time. What about our personality? Yes, our personality is always changing. And so what do? We say, yes, this is who I am, and this is what I'm about. We rely on ourselves for everything. We say, I am responsible. I have to do this. I have to do that. The whole burden of the world is upon us as the changing personality, the ego. And that is why we suffer. Because when you take a limited, changing thing and you place the whole burdens of the universe upon it, it's going to get crushed like a little ant. Crushed. That is literally the only reason we struggle in this life. And I know this because I've experienced it. Because when I was living from that place, I did nothing but struggle. And now that I've built the foundation upon my life, or upon that which is unchanging, sorry, my words today. Let's rewind. Now that I've built the life on that which is unchanging, it's just effortless. I don't feel like I'm the one that has to do everything, get everything done. And life works out way, like infinitely times better than I could have ever done from this perspective. And because we are so ingrained in believing that this is the true nature of reality, that I am this person, that I am this body, that I am this mind, we don't ever question whether or not it's actually true. And that is why they have movies like The Matrix, to remind you that, oh, wait a minute, reality isn't actually what I thought it was. It's actually a lot different. And that is what I am here to show you. I'm here to wake you up, Neo. You see this red duck? Does it remind you of anything? Pills? Have you been taking your pills? I didn't think so. You see, everyone who has built the foundation of their life on the ego is going to have a bad day. Sometime, because life will wash away that foundation, that house. It's just a natural consequence of what we have done. And sometimes that bad day is the day we die. Because if you're on your deathbed as the ego, how are you going to feel? You're going to be like, no, I really don't want to die. Luckily, thank God that you're not your ego. So when the ego dies, you do not die. When the body dies, you do not die, nor the mind, nor the personality. In fact, there is no death. But we'll leave it at that for now. But think about it. Wouldn't you want to be on your deathbed like, yes, I'm okay with this. This is okay. In fact, I'm excited. It's like when you go to sleep at night after a hard, long day. Are you scared to go to sleep? No, you're like, yes, I've been waiting for this all day. This is very nice. I can't wait. Peace, finally. If we can change this foundation now, we can save ourselves a whole lifetime of pain, if not multiple lifetimes. And you only got to do it once, which is the great thing. And then you are free, literally, for all eternity. Who wouldn't take that deal? That is why you should go all in on spirituality. Because the fact is, everything in this life will fall away. Because the true nature of everything is dust. That is why things are not satisfying. It's like you eat a whole bunch of sand and wonder why you're not full. Why am I full? I've eaten so much sand, and yet I'm still not full. I am even more hungry and thirsty. And look, there is a little bit of nihilism here, in that, well, everything we do in this life will just go away as if it never existed at all. But that's okay, because it's not the end of the story. You ever see those Buddhist monks who create the really nice mandalas in the sand, the colorful sand? They spend all of this time intricately creating these pieces of art that look so beautiful. And then what do? At the end of it, they just wipe it away as if it never existed. Done. And that is us. But think about what happens when you're living from the ego. You really want to hold on to that piece of art. Like, no, this is great. I spent so much time working on this. We can't just wash it away. How could you do this? And that is attachment. And that is why we suffer. We suffer because we hold on to that which is changing. But by definition, you cannot hold on to it, because it's leaving you regardless of what you think. The only thing we can do is accept it and be free from our attachments. Therefore, we become free from suffering. Because the only reason we suffer is because we are attached to this ever-changing reality. And why do we hold on to this ever-changing reality? It's because of our identity. It's because we falsely believe that we're the body, that we're the mind, that we're the personality. But we are the unchanging. Now, there are two basic methods that we approach, that we can approach this process. And to be honest, both of them, I think, are necessary. And I think if you just do one or the other, there are limitations. Now, in Hinduism, these two paths are called Jnana and Bhakti. Jnana is knowledge. This is the fundamental path that I teach. Knowledge of the true self, the true divine essence of God that you are, and recognizing this, and then becoming free from the illusion. And as you become free from the illusion, what happens is that you begin to recognize God in all things. And you see the perfection behind it all. You stop looking at the surface of all the surface level problems and the evil and the darkness and how everything is going wrong. And you see how it's all part of this divine orchestra, this divine play. And if you like watching my videos, you'll probably like this, because it's mostly what I talk about. It's coming to the realization that you are fundamentally God. Or should I say, God is the only thing that exists. You do not exist as a separate individual. There is only God. And once you come to that realization with your own two eyeballs, you return to unity with God. Slowly over time, or quickly, I don't know. Everyone's path maybe is different. This is waking up from the matrix and realizing that there is only God everywhere. In everything. In everyone. And then what is Bhakti? Bhakti is devotion to God. Love of God. So I'll give you an example of how I live my life. Fundamentally, I realized myself as the divine. I see it all the time. I can never take my eyes off of it. Because that's what happens once you wake up. You see your true nature as perfection, as the divine essence of God. And at the same time, I still pray to God all the time. There's still a separate relationship with God. So I don't need to, puff my chest out and say, well, I am God, you worship me. Because obviously, there's problems that come with that. At the same time, I am still a devotee of God. And you can easily live in this paradoxical realm where both are true at the same time. You don't have to choose one or the other. But your unique personality will cause you to tend toward one path. You can say from the Jnani perspective comes freedom and peace. And from the Bhakti perspective comes love. That is why both are necessary. Because you want the peace and the freedom. But if you're too much intellectual, if you're too much mind about it, life can feel kind of dry. Like there's peace and freedom, but you don't feel the juice. And that is where bhakti comes in. You have to be focused on love in order to experience love. And one of the mistakes that I made was, I stopped praying once I became self-realized. Because who am I going to pray to? That doesn't make any sense anymore. But I listened to a talk from Swami Sarvapriyananda who said it's a common thing that happens on this path. That people stop their spiritual practices because, what's the point? If they are God, who are you doing the spiritual practices for? And this path keeps you from ever doing something stupid. Like getting too big for your britches and going out into the world and wreaking havoc. Because you're always surrendering to God, thy will be done. Which prevents you from ruining your life accidentally. It's like as a new God, you have all of this power, but you have no wisdom to use it. So it's easy to make mistakes, which is why, at the end of the day, you surrender to God. But the outcome of both of these, or you could say the point, is the same. All you're doing is pointing your mind toward God. God is the one solution that solves all of your problems. And you don't need to have belief. Like you can follow a religion, that's fine. But this is about direct seeing, direct experience. This is about developing a relationship with God. Even if you don't believe in God at this moment, you can still be like, if there is something to this, how about you show me, God? Because, how can I believe in something I don't have evidence for? One example I like to use often is this kind of simple map of reality. You have the world on the left side, you have God on the right side, and you have you in the middle. And your mind is the gateway between the external reality and the internal reality. Jesus said, the kingdom of God is in you. You haven't been looking, have you? I will send a swarm of bees to your house if you do not look for God. Sorry, I just got a little Old Testament. My bad. And your mind is like a resistance valve to a hose that's connected to the ocean of God. Now, here's the deal. God is the source of all love, peace, joy, and abundance. Heaven, basically, right? The more you're attached to your mind, the more your mind constricts that flow. And the less you experience love, peace, joy, and abundance. Because God is the light, the eternal sun within you, the more there is mind stuff blocking the sun, the more there is darkness projected onto the world, and you experience the opposite of these things. It's very mathematical. Think about depression for a moment. What is depression? It's like a big black hole crushing you. Why? Because our mind has caused us to be so disconnected to the life within us that all we experience is death. Cold, misery, suffering, hell. And you don't need to be religious to believe this stuff, because you've probably experienced it. And so what do? We muck about in the world trying to deal with our worldly problems. As the mind, as the ego, as the person, we build the foundation of our life on that which is changing, which is why we struggle. But what happens when you take that mind and it points it within yourself? You open up the floodgates and you open up the source of harmony itself. So harmony begins to flow into your life and it begins to solve all your worldly problems. Congratulations. You've won. The only reason we struggle in this life is our own pride, our own desire to want to control everything. And we don't want to give up control. So we suffer and struggle. And yet when we allow God's hand into our life, everything gets taken care of. Didn't you hear what Jesus said about the birds and the flowers? They do not toil, and God takes care of them. How much more would God take care of you? You have not been listening to Jesus, have you? I'm really considering the bees now. You must need your own orb or something. You have not been pondering. Because think about what a problem is. A problem is the absence of harmony. And why does that arise even in the first place? Because the light within us is getting dimmed by our own mind. And I see it. I have seen it. People who are really attached to themselves, their identity of who they think they are, they're always messing things up. They're like a walking problem, creating mess everywhere. And I look at my life now and I'm like, the messes just seem to get cleaned up by themselves. I don't have to do anything. Simply because I allow the harmony to flow through me. Because I am no longer resisting life. And I experience everlasting peace. It never leaves me. No matter what is going on, even if there's frustration or annoyance, there is still peace as well. And there is still freedom. Divine relief. As Jesus said again, come to me, and I will give you rest. Those who are heavy laden. And this is what he was talking about. It's just this relief from your worldly struggles. All the pain that you experience. You can let it go. You don't have to hold on to it anymore. But the force of resistance, your mind, will continuously say, well, no, I got to hold on to this one. And I got to hold on to that one. Like a hoarder who can't let go of their stuff. They're too attached to their worldly possessions, their worldly life. And the issue is, all of that stuff is going away whether you like it or not. And you see, the way that I approach teaching, right now there's 2 levels. I have 2 YouTube channels. First, you become free and enjoy peace and freedom. And if you want to stop there, more power to you. But then what I teach on the back end is, well, if you want to go back in your worldly life and live any life that you want, you can. You can create any life that you desire, regardless of your external circumstances. Because now you're living from the God state and not from the monkey state. So there's no struggle. You effortlessly create what you want. Now, maybe not exactly as you expect, but that's a good thing. Because you can allow God to bring forth what is good for you and more, better than you could have ever done from the ego. And that's exciting because you don't know exactly what's going to happen. And when something happens, you're like, yes. You are flooded with gratitude because you are reminded that God is always taking care of you. And that you don't have to struggle. All struggle in this life is unnecessary. We place it upon ourselves. And that's a very radical way of thinking. Because most people assume that life is cold, brutal, and short, like a Russian dwarf. And that there is no peace until death. But what I'm saying is you don't have to die to feel peace, to feel freedom. You can have it now because it's already right here. The kingdom of God is spread across the world, but we do not have eyes to see or ears to hear. You are already in heaven. You're only dreaming that you're not. The heavenly God state is just covered up with your mind stuff. And the way to be free from your mind stuff is to be free from the illusion that you are your mind. Jnana Yoga. Knowledge. And at the same time, if you worship God, your mind is always focused on God. You're not worried about the world. Therefore, your worldly problems go away and God, there's just you and God, that's all. Think about in the scene in the Bible where Peter was on the boat with the disciples, and Jesus was walking on the water. And Jesus called out to Peter and said, come on, walk out in the water. And so he did, and he started walking as he was looking at Jesus, but then he started looking around and all the big waves and the rain and the thunder. And so he started to sink. And Jesus had to rescue him. And that is exactly what we experience all the time. When you take your eyes off God, you are back in the world struggling and suffering and drowning. In the world of 10,000 things. But the moment you turn your eyes toward God, it all just goes away. No more struggle, just relief and freedom and peace. Thank God, literally. This is the most important thing you will ever learn in your life. Because no matter what, you look at all the manifestation people and all the worldly people, well, it's great, but it's all dust. It's all going to fall away. But when you tap into the eternal within you, that is lasting. Your spiritual growth is the most important thing, not your worldly happiness. Doesn't mean you can't go and enjoy the world. It just means get your priorities straight. And the thing is, those who suffer the most have the greatest opportunity to be free. Because when you say, oh, well, I give up, I'm done with this, that's when God says, let's begin. Because only until that ego is beaten down will it surrender and give up control. And that is why we go through terrible things sometimes. Because there's no other way. That mind is leading us off a cliff. So there has to be drastic measures to be taken. But we can avoid a lot of that suffering if we can humble ourselves before that has to come. Before we have to deal with that, all that pain. And the motivating factor is, well, we have to realize how much suffering we're experiencing already. And we have to begin looking at the dream outcome of actually finding freedom and peace and relief and not struggling anymore. Because once we are clear, it's like a no-brainer. Oh yeah, I'm going to go do the spiritual thing first, at least. Because it's the most important thing. And it's like Jim Carrey once said, I hope that everyone gets everything they ever dreamed of, all the riches, all the fame, just to realize it wasn't what they wanted from the very beginning. What you really want is within you, which is great news. Because it doesn't take time to get it. It's already yours. You just have to become free from the illusion that you are not that. Perfection is already the default state. Peace, love, joy, and abundance is the default state. We just have all of this mind stuff covering it up. But you can still see it. The mind is like a big dark cloud covering up the light and the warmth of the sun, which casts this dark shadow upon our life. And that is what is responsible for all of our suffering. But once you allow the light back in, now life can flourish once again upon the earth. Because that light is the source of life, and it doesn't matter what you call it, whether you want to call it God or life or consciousness, it's irrelevant. These are just concepts in our mind. You have to experience it for yourself. And in order to experience it for yourself, you have to realize the importance of this journey. And that's why I've created this new spiritual community, so that we can embark on this journey together and not spend years wandering aimlessly. The more we can allow our minds to resonate with this kind of information, the smoother the process becomes. It's like if you're mucking about with worldly people, where they're going to rub off on you. In more ways than one. But when you surround yourself with people who are focused on the highest, so too that will become the quality of you. Haven't you heard the quote? We are like the most people that we spend time around. I think that's it. In this new community, we're going to be talking about all the stuff we've already been talking about. But now we'll have a special place where we can all be together, hanging out. And I will be doing monthly live streams, if not weekly, Sunday satsangs, where we can come together and talk about this, the most important thing. And you can ask your questions and concerns, because the journey can have many pitfalls. And so it's much easier to just follow someone who's walked the path already. And you'll also be able to talk to other people in the community and make friends, and maybe you can meet up one day and hang out in real life. Wouldn't that be cool? Because as you probably know, it's hard to find people who are on the same path in real life. On the internet, they're everywhere. But in real life, it's not that easy. I'm sure you've tried to talk to people before. And what most people are interested in is silly, worldly things. Now, that's not necessarily a problem when you got your priorities straight. But if that's all they talk about, it's like, oh, get away from me, plebs. And I'll create for you exclusive content not found anywhere else. And I feel, after all of this time, that is the natural next step. I've tried to do it before, and I failed because I wasn't in the right headspace. But now I feel like it's something I can focus on and breathe the life into. And of course, you can help create the community as well. Give me feedback and insights so we can create something truly magical. I was going to say magnificent and magical. Magnificent cool. So if it's something that you're interested in, you can check it out, probably in the link below. I wish you much peace and many blessings, my friend, and hope to see you in here. Talk to you soon. I am Ray. Much peace and many blessings. More blessings. Abundance of blessings. And remember, just be.